very, very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for taking the last shift of the day and supporting the Beckham sector heads in this session. I'd also like to thank our virtual audience for staying with us. We appreciate your time and also those who are with us face to face. I would like to just start by acknowledging the chairman of Beckham, Mr. Alan Pryor, who is present, and also Dr. Vincent, who is the vice chairman of Beckham. Thank you. So today we'd like to turn this session into a conversation. We want it to be light. We want it to be informal. We want everybody to get relaxed and share their views and opinions. And we are very pleased to have with us our Beckham sector heads. Now, Jan has introduced each of our sector leaders in their individual capacities professionally, but I just want to highlight that Marla represents the venue sectors in Beckham, and Mr. Gandhi, the exhibition organizers sector. DeeDee Quah is heading up and leading our PCO sector. Sook Ling is our leader of the DMC sector. We have Richard Su, I love this heading, Chief Guru and Creative Marketing. He's leading the event sector in Beckham. We have Eric Ho, a well-known friend and industry colleague who leads the supplier and industry partner sector. And today we have Rowena present, but we also have Ian May. A very warm welcome to you. And she will be representing the airline sector today. And last but not least, someone you all know very well, Para, who is festival and concert sector head. So today we really had a different range of questions, but we would love it if the audience, both in the room and virtually, would post questions to our esteemed panelists. And I'm going to start with a quick state of play, because our sector heads are all subject matter experts in the industries that sectors they work in, to just give us an idea of what is the state of play in your sector and what does 2021 look like for you? What is your vision? So I'm going to kick off with Para, because I introduced him last, and I'd ask him to kick off the discussion. Thank you.
Thanks. I hope there was a hot photo of you. I was just looking at it, Angeline.
Don't ask me how old I was and how old the photo is, okay?
Okay. Anyway, I mean, I'm so glad that I feel like I'm the odd one out of there, because I'm not in the directly business kind of events, but we mean concert promoters. We are in this business, blood, sweat, and tears. So we are in business as much as you all are in, and I think we've kind of complement every sector of you all. And the thing that I really got close to this team is that during the MCO, and we all got to know each other, and I was hugging DeeDee when I was outside, like I know her for 20 years, but we worked so hard together to put the SOP together. I like to thank you now on face-to-face. Thank you so much for putting the SOP together. The SOP you have today now is because of this team of people. Please give them a round of applause. Yeah. And Alan was in South Africa. We were waking him up in the middle of the morning and trying to get whatever input that he can. But what is more important now is that we should stop talking a lot and start putting the actions inward. I think we've been talking a lot the last 5-6 months. We want to switch off the Zoom and get people into the halls. I think that is the key. But safety is the key thing now. We all should be responsible, and we all should, slowly, gradually win the confidence of the market and the people and the suppliers, authorities, and, kick off events back again. I think that's my key takeaway now today. Thank you.
Thanks, Para. What I really like about this group is that there's some equal distribution between the men and women. Beckham is inclusive and it is participatory. So it is strange that I let a man go first, but I know that your wife works very closely with you. So you won't mind me saying, behind every man is a good woman about to overtake him. So at this point, I'm actually going to turn to DeeDee. DeeDee, would you like to share some perspectives on the state of play and what your vision is when you think about 2021 and where you'd like to see yourself in the next coming year?
Thank you, Angie. So for the conference organizers, it's nice to see AGMs starting again. We're starting small, but in the market, the associations are starting to hold their AGMs. And I know a lot of, and for some of us, the conferences that were supposed to take place this year that are going ahead, they've actually pivot and move to the virtual platform, okay? And I think as a PCO, for all my fellow PCOs out there, get yourself ready, practice your webinars, start to run your virtual meetings, and get ready for hybrid next year. So what's gonna happen is that what I foresee in January next year onwards, we'll be working weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend, and that's the good news. So I think we just need to take it forward, be patient now. We're struggling now, but hang on there, hang in there. 2021, we'll all be very busy. Thank you.
So, take good advantage of all those fantastic local domestic campaigns where you can travel in Malaysia and have lots of fun, because next year we're going to be very busy. Mr. Gandhi, a very esteemed icon in the industry, would you like to share some perspectives on how you see our future evolving?
Icon. It's probably like the World Trade Center here. In fact, I started my career in this center. I had the privilege of being involved in the first exhibition that took place in this venue. So actually, I'm not that young. Thank you. So what I can see is the merging of two important disciplines, science and history. What I mean here is that when Columbus, decided to get out to look for the new world, he did not know where he was going. There was nobody has been there before. And I think really we all of us are in that situation. If we think we know what is going to happen in 2021, 2022, 2023, if we want certainty, then I think it'll be very difficult. But if we have the heart of Columbus, if all of us here can say, yes, let's become an explorer. Let's try. Let's go out and do something that nobody has done before. And I think we will come out with a new world. We will discover the new world. And I think that's extremely important that the entire events industry has that attitude. My colleagues, the other day we had a town hall of the ASEAN because we operate in ASEAN, and I could not meet all of my colleagues, so we had this town hall, and one of the questions asked from one of my colleagues in Vietnam, I've always been in the events industry on a face-to-face business. I do not have experience in becoming a digital. I do not have the experience of science, of organizing things in a digital way. What kind of training should I attend? My immediate answer was that there's no trainer who knows this. If Columbus asked, who should I train me to go and discover the new world? There's no trainers. So my immediate reaction was, when you learn how to cycle, how did you bicycle? You just got up, just cycle. Fell down, get up, cycle. If somebody says that you need to go for a training, how to cycle, you will never cycle. So what I would like to share is that what I see, the vision that I can see very clearly, is that there's something incredible opportunity there is for us to discover, and the if all of us can bring the knowledge and of the history, what happened in history, and bring that science of technology together and try everything, just try. It's okay to fail, okay, but then we will come out with a new world and we will all be so happy that we discovered this, because we will not have this opportunity if it is not for COVID. That's what I can see, what's going to happen.
That's inspiring and very positive. And we've got a very, very positive group of people with us today. So I'm going to move on to Marla. Marla is actually the head of the venue sector, and we know that venues are actually having to rediscover how they can operate, because we are one of the suppliers in the business events industry that have been very severely affected. The other thing that was mentioned in the session earlier was about leadership. And Marla, I know that you volunteered to become the sector leader for Beckham. And I'd like for you to share why and what you see for the venue sector as we move forward, and why you chose to contribute voluntarily to head up the sector.
Thank you, Angie. Good afternoon to everyone. I think this industry is based on passion and perseverance. And I think every one of us has volunteered our time because we believe this industry needs to move forward. We're passionate about what we do. I think, I think Confucius always said, if you love what you do, you never have a job to worry about. So we don't consider this a job. I think when the entire team came together with compiling the SOPs, it didn't matter what time of the night you had to work through, but we wanted this industry to make things possible, to know that we could revive the industry, get back to normality, or should I say the new normality, and find solutions. We're about finding solutions and making things possible in this industry. I think whilst there'll be hybrid events, there'll be virtual events, I don't think face-to-face will ever be moved out of this industry. It's all what the hospitality industry, what business events is about. It's about meeting face-to-face, understanding your clients. It's the passion in the industry and making things possible. So I definitely think it's going to be collaboration and partnerships going to be key to us surviving and sustaining this industry.
Thank you, Marla. I'm going to move on to Richard. I was chatting to Richard earlier, and he's been at the coalface, kicking off business, engaging with corporates, engaging with government, engaging with consumers for events that are taking place outside of traditional convention centres. And I'd love him to just share some of his perspectives. Richard, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for having me here this afternoon. I work with corporates, and we do a lot of events for both B2B and B2C. And I think one of the key takeaways that my experience is this few months is that although the government has, although the SOPs have been put into place and we are allowed now to do events, the corporates have their own global directions. They will have limitations as to whether they want us to go ahead. So I've got local clients who say, yes, let's go ahead and let's do that anniversary. But they come back to me and they say, no, my global says no, not until the middle of next year. But there are events that touches the consumers that my clients are starting to go out to do. And this includes concourse events. And you might think that the control factor is not there anymore. But in fact, there is. With the SOPs that we have put into place, you can actually apply it to consumer events. And this is happening from now until middle of September, at least, in conjunction with Malaysia Day and the National Day. So the good news is that there are still opportunities out there. We just need to educate our clients to know that we can do this in a very safe and secure manner, and that all the attendants who come for the event will not be affected.
Thank you. Richard also has some fantastic ideas, so we're going to save the best for last. So hang in there if he wants to hear some interesting developments that he feels we can propose for the industry. I'm going to now move on to Yin Mei from Malaysia Airlines. She has been involved with Malaysia Airlines since 2004. And we all know everybody has lots of questions. We're not seeing any questions yet. We're happy to field questions to the audience. So please post both to our virtual audience and also to our participants on the floor, and we can actually address them as the conversation continues. So thank you very much, Yin Mei. Over to you.
Well, I guess, hi everyone. I got one question first, yeah. Do you all miss flying? Yes?
Yes.
I do. I miss going into the plane, right? And I think what we do here as a national airline, obviously 48 years ago was when Malaysia Airlines first started. And I think since then, we have actually brought in a lot of our visitors inbound, and at the same time, we brought out a lot of Malaysians to the world. In short, it's about connection. We are connecting people and we are connecting countries together. Now, when the COVID happened, obviously it was unprecedented. We literally, within that few weeks, literally we fell from 100% capacity flights flying in the air to just 96% flying. To just 4%. We actually reduced 96% of our network. Clearly because there was no one else flying, countries were closing their borders, there's nothing that we as the airline could do. However, with the recovery coming into place, we actually seen a lot of traction, which we're very happy with. We've seen a lot of domestic travelers. We see a lot of people like us dying to fly, dying to go for an holiday. Yeah? And we've seen a lot of traction happening that they are now flying domestically. Clearly, the key states and destinations are like Kota Kinabalu, the Penangs, the Langkawis, and that's where we noticed that, look, while this COVID could have imposed a lot of what we call fear or the new norm, we as human beings, we as companies, we must continue to look for the new ways of working. Yeah? Do not rest on our laurels. There's always new ways to do business. There's always new customers' needs that we need to satisfy. And that's when we started to be active in terms of looking for partners to join hands together. We're looking with growing our MH holidays, because we know that this is a time that we need to bring value to our customers. Yeah, value of flights and hotels all together. And coming up with products that suit the flexibility. So that's when we introduced the ultimate flexibility, where basically you buy a flight ticket, it's flexible, you can change as many times you want to any destination you want up to next year of traveling. And I guess this is the time that we are also as human beings to join hands. If you notice that a lot of airlines out there have declared bankruptcy. Yeah, and this is a very tough market, let's be honest. You see, this is the first time that you see airplanes being parked in runways. Have you ever seen those shots online? Yeah, and literally it's happening everywhere. Now, with Malaysia Airlines, as the national carrier, we provide employment to the country. We also bring in induced businesses for the country. And that's why with us, we try our level best to not cut jobs, let's be honest, but we do a lot of reskilling, we do a lot of retraining and look into how we can help our staff to refocus in terms of their jobs and their capabilities and their skills. Yeah, I guess what we learn from here is there's always ways to work around it. Let's not just sit and cry over spilled milk. This is the time that we actually think more out of the box, do something which has never been done before, and this is the time that we need to make sure that we explore every single avenue as possible. And most of all, with the team here, this is where partnerships is important. Collaboration is important. Join hands, be with each other, and I believe we will get out of this very quickly. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to move on to Eric and ask him to share perspective on his industry sector, because suppliers obviously now are moving into uncharted territory, looking at new business models, new ways of revenue generation, and I'm sure new partners. Eric?
Great. Thank you, Angeline. Very good afternoon to everyone. just to share, I think our industry, which I'm representing, the industry partner sector, comprises of the largest, I would say, players in our industry, where it's formed from probably a digital partner services provider, contractors, and so forth. So with this current situation, I think it is very challenging for a lot of us, where most of us do not hold our own IP, where we very much depend on the industry and the clientele itself to have their events come to life. So during this current period, I think we have the opportunity to relook into what else can be relevant to the industry and to ourselves. I remember the first thing when we heard that all events have to stop, I was with DeeDee, and I told her that let's look at this as an opportunity. What can we take it out from here and make it different? We have to survive. I think one thing for our industry players is that we have to be resilient in these challenging times, where we have engaged in to learn and unlearn what we used to have. And with this, we have pivoted very much into not forgetting the core business of creative designs, event management, exhibitions management into digital. Of course, we see that lately we've got quite a couple of good wins. In fact, it is more better than what we expected when we indulged in it the last probably three months. And for the last 3 months during MCO, a lot of people were probably resting, where we, our team in Pico, basically, we worked probably 10 times harder. And we had meetings like probably 8 to 10 meetings a day to look into what else can we take it from here and to survive and pass this current situation, which we see the reaps of it in this current status. And very much during that time, we engaged with the Beckham and also Marcios, where we realized that we have to strategize to create the confidence, not only within our industry players, but to the public and also the visitors for events, to ensure that when the events start, there is crowd and there is potential buyers for whatever brands that we are promoting. So with this, I think the direction is very clear. We have to be resilient to learn and unlearn what we have. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think we'll also touch on some of the interesting partnerships and product offerings that have been developed. We had an example from Malaysia Airlines shortly. I'm now moving on to Ling. The DMC sector is very important even to business events, because we always organize social programs, we organize pre and post tours, and even with the incentive market, we rely on the support from DMCs. Could you tell us a little bit about the state of play in the DMC sector and how you see things moving forward?
Yeah, hi everyone. Well, the DMC sector actually is in a very difficult position now. I really like all the inspiring, sharing from my colleagues here. Because most of our clienteles are international travelers, and since the borders are basically closed, except for Singapore essential travel, this has actually impacted us very severely. So what's happening now is that we are hoping for travel bubbles to start very soon, and we are actively engaging with authorities, with the government and MITEC, Tourism Malaysia, to start the travel bubble, and at the same time give them confidence that all our SOPs are actually in place, that we can actually handle incentive travel from overseas. And even flying is there's a lot of articles that says that flying is actually really quite safe. So well, it's also at the same time we're also trying to assure our partners overseas, that it is very safe for them to fly and to, of course, to come into to Malaysia, and all of us are ready. But without the borders being open, where the travel bubble has not been established, we are still sort of waiting for that time.
Are you seeing any pent-up demand from any of the destinations in the region?
We have had clients or in the DMCs that are actually requesting and asking for a date, when actually Malaysia can be ready to actually receive them. We don't see a big pent-up demand in 2020, but there are requests, and for 2021 too. I think the situation that we have now, where things are very uncertain, and uncertain as in we don't know when the travel bubble will be established, whether it's only going to be essential travel. So that sort of makes it difficult for us to answer our clients.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. We're going to turn to some questions that have come up. The first one is for the venue sector. It says, MITEC, as a venue provider, how can you sustain if business events industry move into virtual and hybrid holistically in 1 to 2 years ahead?
I think, from a venue sector, and MITEC being a large venue, I think it's really time for innovation. You cannot sustain just on large events. And I think for us, it's looking at hybrid events. How do you sell your venue as a virtual venue? We are looking at those partnerships. Green rooms are the big thing now. You're looking at how do you showcase? I think MITEC's also launched the Smart Trade Zone, where we're looking at SMEs and how do we build that up. So it's important to innovate and collaborate. Partnerships is going to be key to venues sustaining their business. You cannot solely rely on conferences, but you also cannot solely rely on business being brought to you. It's time that you go out and look at how do you collaborate, co-create events, and work with partnerships with your organizers.
Thank you, Marla. Our next question, what we've been hearing so far is everyone basically can sustain if business events industry moving to virtual and hybrid events holistically in 1 to 2 years. I'm sorry, I just read you the MITEC question again, sorry. A question for Malaysia Airlines. How can Malaysia Airlines assist to attract more business travelers at the current moment for future business events to come?
Well, we'll be more than happy to assist that. Can you hear me? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, Malaysia Airlines has always been here to support all business events. As such, we actually have established a unit to focus clearly on all demands and requests from our partners within the industry, so that we can attend to you very promptly, attend to your requests in terms of timing, the size of your conference and whatnot. And so get in touch with us. Our specified unit is led by Rowena. Well, she's here even, so both of us are here today to support this event. So let us know the moment that we'll be more than happy to assist as much as we can. Obviously, the main challenge we have now, the borders closure. Yeah, like what my colleagues say, the moment the borders are open or we establish green areas, that would be great for us. Yeah.
Can you tell us which routes Malaysia Airlines is actually flying at the moment?
We are flying all domestic, that's for one. Yeah. We are also, hello? Yeah. Can right? No, I think that's fine. No, we are actually maintaining a lot of our flights. We are back up to at least about 40% of our network. Domestically, we are flying back to the pre-COVID days. Like to Japan, we are flying once a week. To Australia, we are also flying once or twice a week. But do note that for Australia, we are limited in terms of their number of passengers on board, to the fact that some states allow up to 30 passengers only per plane. Some allows up to 50 passengers only. So we are at the mercies of the states and the country's regulation. We are still flying to London for sure. South Asia, no. So the key ones are mainly, we're now promoting a lot of domestic traveling. Yeah.
Thank you, Yin Mei.
Welcome.
I'd like to move on to the next question. Oh, another one for Yin Mei. what are your struggles to encourage domestic travelling besides the flexibility to change?
Yeah.
Sorry, what are your strategies to encourage domestic travelling?
The struggles come first, then we strategize how to handle those struggles, right? Think about that. Now, if you notice, we know we have run a lot of our MH Holidays. MH Holidays is our travel arm for Malaysia Airlines. We noticed that during these times, it's not just bad for businesses, it's also bad for personal, you know, where we want to offer the best value to our customers, so that's when we do our packaging. And we've been pushing for domestic travel packages. One example that we have just last week was within our MH Holidays, kids get to eat and fly for free. Yeah, a lot of families now are really wanting to go for staycation, just short holidays to Penang or Langkawi. So that's when we introduce our kids fly and stay for free. If you check it out, we also have packages from as low as 139, flight and hotels included. Yeah, so with Firefly as part of our group as well, so you can check out our Firefly as well. So whichever that suits your preference, either you're departing from Subang Airport or from KLIA, this is how we try to make it as much and as convenient for our passengers. And also in terms of hotels, we have a spread from homestays to even the 5-star luxurious resorts. Again, this is to suit all our customers. And also we note that with this pandemic, a lot of people are avoiding where shopping malls and all those are no longer the key areas of attraction. They prefer beaches, they prefer nature, they prefer somewhere that they could just be by themselves or with their family and their loved ones. So those are the destinations and the packages that we are pushing as well, and that we have a very good value packages for our customers. Check it out, it's online. Yeah?
So there was another part to that question that said, we noticed that airfares are rather high. So I couldn't leave that part out. Yeah. I had to be fair to the person who posed the question.
Well, it depends on basically what type of and when you look for the fares and which destination you're looking at. Recently, we even have the option, we have introduced what we call the Flex, yeah, Premium Flex. So where we have MH Lite, MH Basic, and MH Flex. These are variation in terms of the products and services that you would need to suit your traveling needs as well as your budget. For instance, if you're traveling very lightly, as the name suggests, MH Lite, yeah, it's actually at a very, very, well, I won't say, because we don't go by cheap, right? So you can say a very affordable level, yeah, where you don't need any check-in baggage and you don't need the flexibility to change your flights and whatnot. However, if you do need that flexibility and you do need your 40 kilos of check-in baggage, then you can opt for the MH Flex, yeah, which essentially gives you what you need and the priority boarding and priority check-in as well. We believe that when we develop this product, it is really for different customers. As for now, we notice that there are a lot of different needs for different customers. So one size no longer fits all. Yeah, and this is when we need to be innovative about it. I think essentially airlines have always been very standard. Yeah, one seat, and like it or not, you take it. Yeah, but this is where we have to start doing something which is different, and we start having different products for different customers. So price, the airfares are high. It really depends on when you look for the flights and whether are there limitations in terms of the number of passengers on board, for instance. Yeah, so let me know. Yeah, when you actually hit this, when the airfares are high situation, maybe you could look into other dates of traveling or perhaps other different product structure that we have for you.
Thank you very much. I think that adequately, more than adequately addressed the question. I think one of the things you mentioned is that in our industry at the moment, we're dealing with a lot of customization, and we are tailor-making solutions. A lot of our speakers have already alluded to that, because the demands for meeting design and meeting delivery and execution is all changing. The third question, I think I'm going to open to the floor and ask our panelists if they would like to comment on it. Please just feel free to give input. The question was, as the hybrid conference is a way forward, okay, I'm going to come back to the one on technology in the studio at Marina Bay Sands, but we've been hearing so far, what we've been hearing so far is everyone basically doing hybrid and virtual events, but in terms of innovative ideas, nothing much has come out. So what's new? And I have our panelists here who are going to share perhaps some of the product offerings, ideas, solutions. I know live events have come up with a partnership. I know that Pico has done the same. Please open up, share, let the audience hear that we are very resilient and we are thinking of new things and new ideas all the time.
If I may, I'll take the answer. I'll try.
Sure.
Right. I've been doing hybrid events and also virtual events specifically, and I've had audiences all over the world at the same time with different time zones. And I think what we need to deliver is the experience of being at an event. So for example, I've had a gala dinner for about 80 people, some people as far as Exeter in the UK, Melbourne, New Zealand. And the theme of the dinner is, what's that called? Train to Busan. So everybody had to dress up as a zombie in their own room. And we had Korean food delivered to them. And we had entertainment done over the internet. So these are some of the things that you can do to be a bit out of the box. What I'm saying is that you need to work with technology partners. You cannot be experts overnight. We need to eat humble pie and say, yes, this is an area I'm not an expert in, and I need to work with the experts so that they can deliver that kind of accountability. And on your end, your creative edge, what you can add on to give value to the event. And I think that's where we come in. Virtual events is nothing new. It's been around for the past decade or so. So there are already virtual event experts. Work with them. Their edge is not in the creative field. That's ours.
Thank you. Well said. Anybody else like to? Yes, Mr. Gandhi?
Yeah, I think I want to echo what has been said. The innovation has to be innovation in the virtual event, innovation in the hybrid event. Because we assume that we know what is hybrid, because that's how it was happening, or we think that we know how virtual has to happen. I give you an example. I had a meeting just about 2 weeks ago, went to Quah and met the furniture manufacturers. 40% of Malaysia's furniture is exported from this one city in Quah. It's a $1 billion industry. And so they participate in one of the largest events that we organized, the MIF, the Malaysian International Furniture Fair, which uses both this venue and MITEC, because one venue is not enough. So they asked me, 140 countries visitors come, about nearly 6,000 buyers come from 140 countries. The show has been postponed, and the next event is supposed to be in March. March is not very far away. So they asked me, how are you going to do this event? I said, it's a good question. And we said that this is our plan A. It's not plan B. Plan A is we are going to create a floor plan of MITEC and PWTC. Every hall will be on the floor plan. Virtual, the booths will be there, the products will be there. So those green bubble countries can visit. Those who cannot visit, they could be in Paris, they could be anywhere. They could just click. They can come to your booth, speak to you over a mobile phone, and you can show your furniture. Okay? This is an idea. Of course, we are testing. In fact, we tested this in KLCC 2 weeks ago. We are doing, but to make it happen, this is an idea. We are exploring. But I was very frank with them. I do not know whether it will 100% work or not. But the association president said, let's try it. Because we got no choice. Am I right? Let's explore. So similarly, let's look at new innovative ideas in virtual, in hybrid, as you were saying, to deliver Korean food to the house. Am I right to say that? So there are innovation within this innovation. It's how we apply our mind to it and share this. I think one of the very important thing about this period is that as industry, we cannot keep any secrets now. We need to share. And that's what I told my colleagues and my partners in London. I told them, and they are open to that. Let's share it to the whole industry, whatever we learn, and so that the industry can develop itself. And during this time, that togetherness is extremely important.
Thank you. Para, did you want to say something?
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think for the music and live entertainment part, streaming has been there for a while, and everybody is jumping into this now because they think this is the quick fix to monetize their livelihoods or whatever. But the actual fact that we have to accept is that we don't operate this way. Our humanity don't operate this way. We are a living being. We want to touch. We want to feel. And so this will not really last long, unless this is the end of our world, and we have to live with this. So it's good to have the options of the channels and the platforms to do other things, but I think this will need to go back to the old normal sooner or later. That's when we can actually really, I feel that there's a lot of talk about how the world will be so much in the digital space and all that, but it never happens because humanity's traits are always being alive and being, we want to experience things. So it's a tough call to actually find something new to replace live events. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to comment? Yes,
Maybe
Marla,
like
and then, Marla and then DeeDee.
I think just to add to it, I think we're creatures of comfort. In this industry, we don't sell venues, we don't sell exhibitions, we sell an experience. And that's what it's all about. I think just recently talking to friends in the UK, they hosted a conference online, virtually, but what was quite nice about that is that you could experience the hybrid conference or a virtual conference, but everyone was sent Amazon vouchers, so during networking, you could order and make sure that your drinks, your food was delivered to you. And I think that's the innovation levels we need to go to, that the venues, the events will still go on, but we have the added value of hybrid events and virtual events. So I think those are the changes and the innovations that are going to come about.
Thank you. DeeDee.
Thank you. So to add on to what everybody else have shared, I think coming back to the individual, conference organizers, event organizers, virtual and hybrid is just a platform. It's technology, right? So it's people that makes an event happen. And we can come up with the best ideas like the Train to Busan, and I love that, Richard. But at the end of the day, it comes to us as an individual. It's up to us to participate when there's a virtual call, when there's a video call on. It's up to us to show our face on video, not to hide behind a black screen and just leave our names there. So even if we were to come to a physical event, but if we decide not to engage with the other members of the audience or the speakers, we will find that we don't fully experience the whole event or the whole conference. So the innovation, the ideas that comes are going to be little. It's going to be within the creative ideas that the organizers can come up with. But what we would like to do is encourage everybody and welcome everybody to our event. Take off your mask, well, on a virtual sense, unmute your volume, unmute your mic, show us on your video, and interact with us, because that's where human interaction takes place. And I can't wish for the day when we can go back and meet face to face and go for a full conference, smoke up and have a couple of drinks and just literally have a good time with each other. So this is only temporary, but we'll overcome it.
Thank you. As you can see, our industry leaders are very, very positive, and they are exploring and continuously improvising and innovating and maintaining a strong resilience. We are reaching the end of the session, so I had asked, firstly, I'm going to ask Richard to put forward some ideas, because I think that's what our audience is looking for, about additional things we can do. And then I would like to ask our individual sector heads to just perhaps leave an inspiring message for all of you. We can't address all the questions. There were some questions about investment in technology, who carries that cost from a venue perspective, about what safety measures the airlines are putting in place. But you are welcome, when our session ends, to please engage with our sector heads. We've also put up the Beckham email address. If you want to actually direct any questions, we can share all that information through the MySEP website. But I'm now going to hand over to Richard, because he's going to put forward some ideas, and then ask our leaders from the various sectors to just impart an inspirational message and talk about why they became leaders in our industry. So over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Angeline. Extremely privileged to be able to share my ideas. But first of all, I think we need to be thankful. Thankful because we are in a country where the situation is very much under control. After speaking with some of the industry players recently in a virtual meeting, PTMA, I had speakers from Hong Kong, I had speakers from Australia, and various other parts of the world. And different countries have their own limitations. Like, for example, even in Hong Kong, although the pandemic is under control, other political problems to deal with. If you talk about Singapore, yes, they are still under lockdown, but even if it's open, they can't travel out, and Singapore is only that big, right? It's not like in Malaysia where we can still move out to different states, have different experiences. So we are extremely lucky. And because we have this platform, and why are we here today? To network. And why are we networking? Because we want to find partnership, we want to collaborate. And that's where the ideas come from. We are all industry leaders here, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to work together to make things happen for everyone, to give jobs to people who otherwise do not have a job right now. For example, the entertainers who have been unemployed, unengaged for the past few months. We could have a concert which is both a virtual and a hybrid with controlled SOPs in place. Why not? Monetize it, get people together, sell the tickets, get a concert.
Yeah, I'm doing that actually.
Yeah, great. See, great minds think alike.
With Alan.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's other opportunities as well. We've got caterers, we've got hotels. Why can't we do a food fest? Get everybody together, sell food to consumers so that they can all come back and remember, oh, I know this place has this great food, and they do catering, so next time if I do a virtual event, if I do anything, I can go back to them. It's still a channel for sales. So there's a lot of positivity that's still up there. Just grab at that opportunity. We are very lucky to be in Malaysia, and I think in 2021, even if this doesn't bowl over, we will still have our event industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Any parting words of inspiration, messages to our industry and our supply chain? We are the subject matter experts, so we hold the future in our hands, and we have the capability. So, any last messages?
Maybe I'll just say a few
Eric
words.
from Pico.
Yeah, just add a few words. I think be it a physical event or hybrid event or virtual event, a very important point that we always look at is content is very important. Be it physical, be it virtual, and how do we engage our audience is how creative we can be. And as virtual is basically just a platform, like my colleagues have just mentioned, it is how we utilize the content and create good contents for audience to be engaged at all times. This is how I see that our business events will go through this current period. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I-
Yes, Mr. Gandhi.
Yeah, of course, we do not know. Maybe next week, someone discovers the
Vaccine.
vaccine,
Yes.
everything is over, you know what I mean? We never know. So because we are in a, like I said, in a situation,
Yes, that would be good.
maybe if it is just only another 50 kilometers to discover the new world. No, we do not know. So anything could happen. But I think what inspires me is that I remember when I was a young kid coming into this exhibition industry, someone helped me for no reason. Someone helped me to teach me. At that time, there was no events industry, in the early 90s. And someone taught me a lot of things I learned myself. And I feel this industry has given a lot of leaders here, a lot of opportunity. Me personally, became comfortable because of this industry. And we hope that we can give back. And those who have gained from this industry, this is the time to give back. Yeah. Give back as much as we can so that just like how we benefited, others can benefit, because face-to-face here is to stay. We are gregarious human beings. I'm sure you know that the most extreme, most extreme prison sentence that one can have is solitary confinement. Do you know that? That's the extreme. That means you put a human being alone, that they don't meet anybody else. And I think we human beings, we need to be together, as Para said. It will come back. I think we will find a solution. And let's not lose hope that the norm will come back. But it's just during this time we can find some new ideas.
Thank you.
Maybe
Any
I'll
more
just
last
add.
comments? Yes,
Maybe
please.
I just add, Hara? I guess one thing just wanted to highlight, guys, I think we talk a lot about business. We talk about how we want to bring back the business together, the industry together, but with us, I think one thing that we must always remember is our staff, our colleagues. Always make sure that their well-being is taken care of. I think that's something that a lot of people tend to forget. My personal experience was like over the past 3-4 months where, MCO and people were working from home. There are a few of us who are not used to that. And, we want to make sure that they are okay. So we always make sure that check in with them, make sure they are managing well, make sure that they are okay with being home alone, doing the work and all this. I think that's very important. At the end of the day, a company thrives because of its people. If you don't check on them, if you don't make sure that their welfare is taken care of, that they're doing okay despite all this, we know business, we need to work for it, yeah, but don't forget your staff, don't forget your team members, don't forget your colleagues. That's just my last contribution.
Para, we're on 0, but I'm sure we can accommodate you. We still have, there was a few minutes taken out of our session.
I think I'm just going to take my bet on humanity, because that's the only thing that actually is all about. In the end, you can see science is struggling to try to find a solution. But we are putting our hands together and trying to join forces and keep our lives going as normal. So I think humanity will win in the end. I think that's what I wanted to share. So please do not give up on what we are all here for, which is going back to the old normal. I think we will get there sooner or later. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla.
I think just last parting for me, it's time to revive, recharge, and restart the industry. I know this is not an advertising platform, but it's a platform to support each other. So this weekend, we have a local craft market at MITEC to support the local industry, and I'd like to see every one of you there. And Para, for your concert, I'll be at KLCC.
Fantastic.
And I'm not asking for a ticket, I will buy the ticket.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So 2 great events coming up. Is our audience going to be there? For sure. Virtual audience too. Please support business events. Let's keep going and let's keep resilient. Anybody else with a comment? Yes, DeeDee?
So I just have a comment for each and every one of us out there. We hear a lot about the leaders speaking and about the corporate heads, our bosses talking to us. But this message is really for each and every one of us who is working in the industry. Mindset is what separates the best from the rest. But more importantly, if you're still struggling, it's okay, you're surviving, okay? And for some of our colleagues out there who've perhaps lost their jobs or who are in transition right now, just remember this. This is only a chapter in your life. This is not your whole story. So with that, I just wish everybody luck and let's stay together.
Thank you. Any more comments before we close?
Yes, I think especially to the DMCs who are here, who are struggling, just keep at it. There is improvement, there's things moving on, and things will be, I'm quite sure, normal very soon. But meanwhile, I think we try to help each other, be corporate, and then we try to innovate.
Thank you very much. I'm going to wrap up now, if that's okay. So before we close the session, I think the first thing we need to do is give a huge thank you to Dato Srikani and the MITEC team. We all got together and we could talk about our industry and we could see how we are progressing. So thank you very much to MITEC for Malaysia Business Events Week. I'd also like to thank our fantastic sector heads. Here are fantastic coaches and mentors available to all our young professionals, also to our virtual audiences. Please engage, use their knowledge. Like Mr. Gandhi said, let them help you. You can develop and become a future sector leader in our industry. So we encourage you to please engage. And I would like to make a personal appeal. We want to keep our business events industry open and operating. So please, let's adhere to the SOPs. Let's ensure we practice all the requirements that have been put into the SOPs to make sure that we can demonstrate to government, to our clients, to our audiences, to our visitors, and to our communities that we are a responsible industry sector and that we have developed our standard operating procedures in order to ensure Malaysia stays safe and recovers from COVID-19. So thank you all very, very much. And again, to our sector heads and to our audience, both in the room and virtually, we appreciate your time. Thank you for staying for, as they say, the last session of the day, but I think there's some networking time coming up. So back to Joanne. Thank you.